Roger, do you know of the southern tribes? What was the common practice among one certain tribe? That the women were the hunters, while the men were domesticated. When the village needed food, the women would go out and hunt for it. The men, on the other hand, were allowed to grease the women's bodies before the hunt. But they were never allowed off their knees while massaging the oils into the women. When a band of women found a prey, they would rush at it together, all stabbing wildly with their knives, until the blood of the animal flowed upon their bodies, often mixing with their own blood. Then, without knives, they would rip away at the flesh of the animal with their hands and mouths. They would rub their bodies against the ravaged animal, against his head, against his genitals. And after they had completely satiated themselves upon the animal and upon each other, they would drag the remains back for the men. Now the men would grovel on the ground when the women returned, exposing themselves, hoping to be chosen. For if they were chosen, and if they were good, they were given food. But it happened once that one certain man found that he could hunt in the woods and bring in more food than the women could. And with his rather large body, he could satisfy 4 more husbands. And with this man as their leader, the men began to ignore the women. They turned away their food, disobeyed their commands. They found they no longer needed the women. Whereupon the women came together and met. This time they greased and oiled their own bodies, and they prepared to hunt that man. Naked. They were naked. They tracked that man in the woods until they came upon him in a clearing. They fell upon him at once, ripping him open and eating his insides, while the other men were made to watch. They drank his blood, and they chewed his bones until all of him was inside of them. But strangely, They had raised themselves to passions far beyond their belief. And still writhing in pleasure and desire, they fell upon the other men, one by one, ripping them open and devouring.